Hey, book family. I hope you guys are doing great. I'm doing okay under the circumstances, but one day at a time, one day at a time. So I decided to do my second vlog, and this vlog will be Halloween themed, right? I mean, it's October, so I had to do a spooky vlog video. So I have chosen three books for this vlog, and the first one is titled The Selfless Act of Breathing by JJ Bola. And that one is more of a cozy, comfy, melancholic book. And also, the second one that I chose, it's supposedly a horror book. It's called Lone Woman by Victor Lavalle. And the third one that I will be reading is The Human Origins of Beatrice Porter and Other Essential Ghosts by Soraya Palmer. It's contemporary literature and supernatural fiction. It's beautiful outside. Obviously, it's fall. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go find me a little spot. We have a park here close to home, and I'm gonna find me a little spot there and do a little bit of reading. So come with. So there you have it. Now I will do my best to try and update you throughout the video. But if not, rest assured that I will still share my thoughts at some point in the video about these books. So without further ado, let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy it. So the sun is setting. It's what time is it? I don't know. It's probably like 5 something, almost 6 o'clock. You guys see the full moon? Okay, it's not the full moon, like half moon. You guys catching that? Are you catching that? Not the beautiful tree, but the little half moon there. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, I didn't even tell you. I'm actually reading The Selfless Act of Breathing by JJ Bola. I actually thought this would be appropriate, you know, going through what I'm going or what my family's going through. The title kind of seems appropriate. So, I can't wait to tell you a little bit more about this book. Okay. So I'm thinking this book is not really a happy book. The first line is already like triggering. Like I'm on part one, and this is the first line. I quit my job. I'm taking my life savings, 9,021, and when it runs out, I am going to kill myself. That already is triggering for me. But so as I said, I'm on part one, and part one is just about Michael, by the way, which is very interesting because my husband's name is Michael, and and he's Congolese, so this is really strange for me. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of thoughts about it right now, except that let's keep reading to find out what's going on with this individual. Guys, the sun is setting. Like, look at those colors. Look at the water. Winter is coming, y'all. Y'all remember Jon Snow? Y'all ever watched Game of Thrones? I love Game of Thrones. And recently, I actually watched Wheel of Time. I never read the books, and that's me. If I watch the show, I will not read the book. So forget that. But yeah, check those beautiful colors, the water.
My hands are getting cold. This was fun. So I'm gonna go back home and do more reading at home. Plus, I'm starting work in like 40 minutes. So I gotta get ready for that. But it's gonna be beautiful and sunny this whole week. So hopefully, I can do a lot more reading outside, enjoy a bit of the outdoor before winter comes and blankets us all with its whiteness. Yeah? Okay. All right, guys. See ya. Okay, guys. So we're back in my studio, and obviously I have my headset, so I am working. Um, this is the book that we're reading, and I will let you know what I think, a little bit of my thoughts on the book. I'm not too far yet. Like I said, I'm still on part one. And then, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But once I know more, I will make sure to update you. Okay? All right, guys. So it's my break time. It's 8:54. I have a 15-minute break. So let me just update you on the reading so far, right? Selfless Act of Breathing by J.J. Bola. So far, we met Michael Kabongo. Very Congolese name. I recognize the name. But by the way, guys, I am making some tea. As I was saying, guys, so Michael Kabongo seems to be quite in a depressive mode. From the beginning, as I told you, the first line is like he's gonna take his savings and basically kill himself. So as I said, watch out for the trigger, because the atmospheric vibe that I'm getting from this book is like suicidal, depression, like he just wants to quit life, right? But I found out that he's a teacher. He lives in London and he's a teacher. He teaches grade 11 students, but somehow he doesn't seem to enjoy his work anymore. And then at some point, we jump or navigate between his life in London and his life in California in the United States. So far, there's not a lot of action, but you get to hear a little bit about his life in London. And he has a friend whose name is Jalil. And at some point, I want to read you a little bit of what he says while he's having a conversation with his friend. I think they're about 30, because his friend is saying that, he's pushing 30 and his father wants to marry off to one of those village girl in Pakistan. So they're at his place, and at some point you get a little bit of a little glimpse of what Michael Kabongo is feeling. And here he says, I wanted to tell him about this growing feeling of isolation, despair, hopelessness. I was a burden to the world, to everyone around me. There was an engulfing grayness creeping in from the corners of my being to the core. I couldn't tell if this was I couldn't tell if this was imagination or reality, but I knew it was there. So this sounds quite serious, and I'm now at chapter 7, and here we're back at London, 2:45 p.m. So the chapters are fairly short, so hopefully I'll finish this, and I'll continue reading, guys, but so far that's what's going on. So I was saying, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about the conversation he was having with his friend Jalil about, how he was feeling inside, but he didn't tell his friend about how he feels inside. And that's kind of sad, it just reminds me a little bit of how when people are in a depressive mode, how they feel that they don't want to burden people with what they're feeling, or thinking maybe people might listen to them and maybe sort of like encourage them to feel a certain way by saying, "Oh no, that shall pass." It's just you're just feeling this way because it's gray out, or some things like that. But sometimes that's probably why they don't want to talk to people, because people will be quick to be like either dismissive or tell them to seek help, or I don't know. But that's what's going on with Michael Kabongo. So I'm gonna do more reading for the rest of the night, and I will update you on the morrow. Okay? Of course, Cheetah. This tea smells really good. I'll see you later. Bonjour les amis. Today is October 26th, and I wanted to update you on J.J. Bolla's book, The Selfless Act of Breathing by J.J. Bolla. Alright, so the last time I spoke to you, it was just to let you know a little bit of the beginning of the story of Michael Kabongo, who was very suicidal. Again, I want to put it out there that this book is very intense. It does talk about depression, it does talk about suicide fully, like it's very there. So if you're not in the right state of mind, if you're easily triggered, or if you're not, just look out for those triggers, because as I said, this book is very intense. So I'm not sure if you can actually see my eyes, but when I woke up, they were swollen. And it's because I finished reading the book last night. By the way, guys, sorry, I'm just coming from the gym, so I'm about to make myself a smoothie, get dinner ready for the kids. They're about to arrive in like 5 minutes, so I'm trying to do this real quick. So anyways, I cried so hard when I finished that book. And the reason why is because I don't know what's going on, but this book reminded me a lot about the death and what's happening, in our family with the death that happened earlier. And it's just so strange, because when I think about his character, Michael, the way he was talking about his life, you felt so desperate to have him seek help. Okay, let me just put this in context so that I don't confuse you guys. So, as I said, he's been traveling to the United States. He took out his savings, and once the savings or the money runs out, he's gonna take his life. So you get to hear a little bit about his life in London prior to him taking that decision. And sometimes what I've understood from this book is that sometimes you can fall into this abyss of darkness, of depression, and there may not be a strong reason for you to fall into that depression, but somehow you just feel depressed. We do hear a little bit about his dad who died. What happened is that they came to London, they were young. He was about 6 years old when he came with his parents, and they started their lives in London, but his dad had to go back to Congo, and there he just never returned. And I believe that's where a little bit of his traumatic event started, and him falling into a deep depression. And after that, you also hear a little bit about the relationship that he had with a previous girlfriend in the past, and that seems to have also sealed his fate in him, getting more and more depressed. But as you see him go and travel in the United States, he also meets people, like random people. Sometimes it's those taxi drivers. They will take him to these places. And unfortunately, I don't have the book here because I asked my husband to read a few chapters, so he's gone to work with it. But once I have my book, I would love to read you guys some of the quotes, because although this book was absolutely emotionally raw and sad and all of that, J.J. Bolla had some nice quotes that I would like to share with you guys. But I don't have the book right now. So for now, let's just talk a little bit about his journey in the United States. So as I said, he meets random people. He's brought to strip clubs. Sometimes he's brought to like these places, and he meets a girl there. And the reason why I want to mention this girl is because he doesn't have much time. All of this happens in like, I think, less than a week or two, like not that long, right? So he meets this girl and they don't do anything together right away, they just talk. And instantly he finds a connection with her. And the reason I mention that is because I feel like you feel at that point like maybe she will be his salvation. Maybe she will influence him. Maybe he will open up to her and be like, you know what, I was about to do this, but now that I met you, you know, I'm starting to see a way out, you know. But at some point, she tells him that you're gonna go back to London because he doesn't want to open up. Like they still share a lot of things, a lot of feelings, a lot about their outlook on life, and he seems to really connect with her. But he still doesn't tell him what he's about to do. So she's like, you know, she's in deep trouble, like money, financial trouble, and he's like, I can help you. She's like, no, you're gonna go back to London, so never mind. And he's like, no, 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 I can help you. She's like, no. And he literally, there's a scene where he begs her, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, please, Belle, her name is Belle, please just give him a chance. Like, he's gonna help you, and you guys can just start, you know, a relationship together, start afresh. And she doesn't give him a chance. So the next chapters, you just see him fall more and more into oblivion, more into this abyss, this darkness, this depressive state. And you know at that point that he's not going back. And what really, really broke me is when he starts writing the letter to his mom. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was bawling. Like, I was bawling. I was just like, why are you doing this? There are people that you can talk to, like random people, even if you feel like family members you can talk to. It's just so terrible. And the ending, oh my god. Anyways, you guys, I just wanted to give you that much about the book. I will conclude by giving you some quotes from the book. And although, as I said, you have to be mindful of the subjects being discussed in this book, I strongly encourage you guys to pick up this book. One, he's a Congolese author and he's British. Like, can you imagine an African Congolese man speaking British? But other than that, his way of writing is very lyrical. Like, it's very poetic. Like, there were some parts where the way he just wrote and would talk about certain things, even the most sad aspects of life, he just put it into these beautiful prose. And I was like, you need to discover this author. I don't think I'll film today. I have a lot of things to do. So maybe the next day, so I can read you those quotes, okay? But in the meantime, I'm gonna make myself a smoothie and then start on that dinner, okay? I'll see you guys later. Bye. I decided to take a little break from reading, and B and I decided to take the kids out, some fall pictures. At the same time, we found a trail somewhere in a park and took a walk with the kids. Quite a wonderful family time. Afterwards, we took a trip, went to the Halloween store that's only there obviously for just Halloween, and decided to go shop for the kids' costumes. Now, that was something else because whatever they wanted was either not there or way too expensive, but we managed to find costumes for the girls. My eldest son is another story. We might have to go find it on the next day. And yeah, that's it. Hey guys, so I wanted to update you a little bit on my reading. So right now I'm actually getting ready to go find my son's costume last minute. Oh my god, I hope I find the costume. But I'm also gonna stop at Indigo. I've never been to that location, so I'm pretty excited. Of course, I have way too many books I don't want to buy, but maybe I'll just buy one book. We'll see.
But anyways, you guys, so I'm in the middle of reading Lone Woman by Victor Lavallée. So far, it's interesting. It's really interesting. So we meet Adelaide, right? Adelaide is this girl that lived in California. And the way the story begins is that her parents are dead. And she goes to the house. She actually, covers her parents and decides to burn the house. So, already there, you're just like, what the hell, What is this daughter who's like, did she kill her parents? But that's not the story. So she decides to run away because obviously people are going to start asking questions. People are going to want to know what happened to her parents. So she travels all the way to Montana. Of course, between California and Montana, she meets different people. And at the same time, she has a trunk. And in that trunk, there is something that she cannot reveal to anyone. But at some point during her voyage, she encounters this family. And it's this woman. She has 4 sons who apparently are blind. It's a white family. And this story is during the 1900s, right? So she was basically going to Montana. And Montana is still very barren in the sense that, not a lot of people live there. So the government decided that whoever wants to go there, they get to have some free land. So she's one of those women. She goes there alone and, wants to have her free share of the land, right? But as I said, she meets those 4 sons and they're blind, but they're not who they seem to be. Okay, so as I said, so far the story it's interesting. I'm curious. You do get to see and know what happens in the trunk at some point in the story. I am at that part. So that's where I am within the story of Lone Woman. So I wanted to continue telling you a little bit about Lone Woman in the car because I have to get going. So as I mentioned, she meets those 4 boys and they're not blind really. You will like, she discovers that at some point what happens to Adelaide is that, when you a black woman in the 1900s living on the land by yourself, you are a target, right? And at some point she gets a visit from that family who wants what's in her trunk. But they don't know that there's something pretty dangerous in that trunk. And what happens is a series of events that will just catapult the story into a different direction. I guess if you don't want to know what's in the trunk, but you kind of need to know to understand the rest of the story without me telling you the end, because I don't even know what the end is. But when they come and try to steal what's in the trunk, they discover that there is a creature in that trunk. Yes, a creature. And the story with that creature is that when Adelaide was born, that creature appeared at the doorstep of her house. So apparently she is cursed. She is cursed because the day she was born, that creature appeared at her doorstep, and ever since then it's been stuck to her. So she's the only one who can tame the animal, no one else. And I believe that's what happened to her, or that's what happened to her parents. The animal attacked her parents. So that creature, they don't even know what it's called. She just calls it a demon, a monster, or something like that. Oh, I hate the word demon. I hate it. So I'm just gonna say the creature. And Lord behold, that creature attacks the mother, including 2 of her kids, because there are 4 blind children who are not really blind. So he attacks them, and 2 of them are able to fly. But that creature has never been set free, and it manages to escape. And that's where I am in the story. So we will find out what happens to the rest of the citizens of Montana, and if she's able to find that creature, or if that creature is attached to her, maybe somehow it'll find its way back to Adelaide. Who knows? But that's where I'm with the story. So I'm having fun with the story. It's not that horrific. It doesn't have all of those extraordinary supernatural elements that I thought it would, right? Like witch, demon, all of that. Although the creature is being called all kinds of names, including demon. It's not really a demon, probably just a creature that we've never probably discovered. I don't know, but yeah. All right, guys. So I'll keep you posted once I know more about the book. Hey guys, I'm working. Got me some perfect cozy socks for Halloween. So we're the 30th. Right now, Halloween is tomorrow. Hope you guys got your costumes and you all ready for Halloween tomorrow. I hope you're doing good. I actually had a wonderful, no, I'm not gonna say wonderful day. My day was good, it was good. I I went to get my son's costume, as as I mentioned earlier in the video, and thank God I found one that he liked. It wasn't he, it was not his first choice, but he liked it. So, phew. And I went to Indigo. I had never been to that location, so it was good. I still prefer the one I usually go to, but that one wasn't so. It wasn't bad. It was a good experience because it was like going to a new bookstore for me, so it was fun. And I bought 2 books, guys. Shh, do not tell Bay, okay? Because he's gonna sit me down and we're gonna have a conversation, and I don't want to have a conversation about me buying books and more books, okay? But it's a guilty pleasure I love to indulge in. All right. So let me show you the books I got. So I got 2 books. They were costly. There's no sales going on, but at least I got some points. 260 points earned today. Obviously, you guys know that a couple of us on Booktube and maybe around the world are obsessed with Kennedy Ryan, and everybody is talking about her books, whether it's Before I Let Go or the Hoops series, or Real, which I read and I raved about. Everybody seems to be on Kennedy Ryan's wagon, and you know, I had to also be part of it. So I am starting my Kennedy Ryan collection. I have Before I Let Go and I have Real. So I bought, ta-da! I saw the old version, and I am with the public opinion, which is covers that have real people on them are not really that appealing, just because we want to use our imagination. At least for me, I want to use my imagination to imagine the character, so when you put a character or person or a man or woman directly on the cover, I mean, you're taking that imagination away from me, right? So I love this cover. I think it's pretty, it's cute, and
Yay! I can't wait to read it. Maybe I'll do a vlog reading the Hoop series. What do you guys think? I think it's a good idea. Let's just see. So let me read you what it's about. Iris Dupree meets August West in a sports bar during her last semester of college. It's the conversation of a lifetime and sends sparks flying in every direction. The connection is undeniable, but the timing is all wrong. August is poised for the NBA draft, and Iris belongs to another man, basketball's golden boy, and August's longtime rival. The two go their separate ways, but they often recall that electric night and what could have been. While August has embarked on his all-star life, studded with wealth and fame, Iris's perfect public relationship has become a nightmare behind closed doors, a tarnished dream of fool's gold. When August re-enters her life, the world seems briefly bright again, but Iris's darkest nights are not over yet. To survive, she must build her own strength and trust that her bond with August can endure after all this time, even when her fraudulent prince has vowed never to let her go. I think a lot of people have talked that this is also an emotional series. There's some triggering aspects to it, so I will let you know. Talking about August, y'all know, what's her name? Jada Pinkett's book is out there, and apparently she talks about what her life, like we know, she's used to, lay out her business for the world to know. Hey, we're not here to judge. He also talks about August Alsina. So it just reminded me of her entanglement with August Alsina. Entanglement. I mean entanglement. Yeah. We've heard it all, But I can't wait to jump into this series and let you know more about the book. Next, we have, this is a new release. It's Jasmine Ward, Let Us Descend. And you know what? Strangely, as I was looking other booktubers talk about the new releases and stuff like that, I had this on my list because I was thinking that I would come up with this video of new release books that were coming out this year and stuff like that, and life happened, or should I say death happened, and that kind of threw my plans, some of it at least, out the door. So but I saw this book, and the first time I actually saw someone talk about this book is La Rosa Reads. She spoke about this book, and from the moment she read the synopsis of the book, I knew I wanted to read this book. And I just discovered that Oprah, it's part of Oprah's club. So, like, right? Talk about good taste. Yeah, Oprah's club. It's right here. So I can't wait to read this book. I might just boost it to my November TBR, right? I don't know. We'll see. But those are the two books that I picked up from my visit at the bookstore. Now, as you know, I talked about the books that I'm currently reading for the vlog. I mentioned a little bit about Lone Woman. I hope to finish that tonight. I only have 2 hours to listen to it, so I will update you on the morrow. And the next one that I am also currently reading, it is the Human Origins of Beatrice Porter and Other Essential Ghosts. And so far, I hope I'm not confusing you while I'm talking about these books at the same time. But so far, the book is, it's interesting. It looks like it's a story within a story. So far, I've read that much. What I'm gathering from the story is that we have a narrator at the beginning of the story who starts the book by telling us that by the time we're done reading this book, she'd be dead. Okay, already that has your attention, yes? And then it sounds like through 2 characters or 4 or a family, we hear various stories as told by each and every one of these characters. We meet Sasha and Zora. I believe Sasha is the oldest and Zora is the youngest. They're sisters. And then we meet Nigel and we meet Beatrice Porter. So
Right off the beginning of the book, you can sense and you can tell that there seems to be issues going on between the couple, and the two sisters are bearing witness to whatever is happening in the relationship between their parents. And at some point, you hear the daughters asking their dad to tell them a story, and he starts to tell them the story about Anansi. You guys know the story of Anansi? I remember we used to read Anansi stories to our kids. We loved Anansi the spider and the different version of Anansi. So he starts to tell him about Anansi at the beginning of the story. But as the story evolves, you hear other stories, such as the one with the called the butcher, rolling cow who hunts butchers. Yes, that's the second story that you hear Nigel tell it, and also Beatrice. She speaks what's that language? It's not patois. Is it patois? Because she's from Trinidad. She's not Jamaican, or is she? Just want to read you. Make we leave tomorrow upon dusk. Is that patois? So Trinidadian and Jamaicans. Hey, I don't want to sound ignorant here. Okay, let me see. Jamaica. So it says Discovery Bay, Jamaica. So at some point, yes, they're in Jamaica. They go to a restaurant. Oh, yes. And that's where she actually snaps. You think me doopy, brother? Me see ya now ready for what me comfy do. Anyways, I believe she's Jamaican. Either Jamaican or Trinidadian. Okay? So the reason why I mentioned Beatrice is that she sounds like she is being abused. Yes, there is a bit of abuse in the relationship, and the daughters see it. And at some point, Sasha, she is the oldest. She sees her father, and she sees him cheat. Like she knows that her father is being unfaithful to her mother. So she goes and she tells her sister, her little sister, about it. And what happens is that at some point in the story, the two sisters decide to spill the beans to their mother. And their mother sounds like she's not shocked. And she actually tells them about this German girl that he is. And it looks like something. She maybe she will curse. I don't know. But she just looks at her daughters and then just tells them to like mind their business or find something to do. And the story goes on, and she stays in the relationship with Nigel. And at some point, they have a baby. A baby is born. Sasha ain't too happy about it. And you see how the dad and the mother navigate life with the newborn. At some point, they are at the restaurant. Was it Jamaica? Yeah, Jamaica. They're at a restaurant and the baby's crying, right? The baby's crying, so she needs to be fed. So Nigel, the husband, he tells his wife to go outside and feed the baby outside because at some point she takes the boob out and she wants to feed the baby right there. And then Nigel is literally saying that if you do not go outside, she will get it. Basically, like he's talking to one of his child. Even a child, you can't talk to him like that, but he tells her like that, and he tells her like no one will save you. That's essentially where I'm at. And now I am at a chapter where I'm discovering a little bit about the childhood of Nigel, where he began his story. That's where I'm at. So it looks like this book is a book about stories. It's a couple of stories within a story. That's what it sounds like. So that's what I'm currently reading. Let me practice my patois here. You know, in my day, me happy travel 2 hours from home to go a school fee offer A level and upper sixth course. Ya need to go university. Even one big award from me teacher, making me think me some kind of special. Yeah. Oh God. Halloween time. Isabel, you and I have to do ourselves like next year, okay? Next year. Yeah, next year. Hey guys, I hope you're doing great. I'm doing good. It is finally that time for me to give you my final thoughts on the 3 books that I've been reading for this vlog. It is November 1st. I finished reading this book just a few minutes ago, and I finished listening to the other one, which was Lone Woman by Victor Laval. I was saying Lavallée. Sorry, it's Victor Laval. I actually also finished listening a while ago. So let me give you my thoughts. Now, definitely these 2 books, these last 2 books, had all the elements of ghosts, hunting, animals, creature, all of that and some. Okay? Definitely not something I signed up for, and I'm very happy that this month of October is done with all its spookiness. Final thoughts on this book. As I mentioned previously, I want to just catch you up from the last time I updated you guys. As I said, I wasn't too far in the book, but what I realized was that Nigel, we were starting to hear about Nigel, who's the dad, and what we discovered, I realized that this book actually has gay representation, lesbian representation in this book. Probably like 60% of the book. We discover about Nigel that he had a brother, Harold, and his brother was gay. And obviously living in Trinidad during, I believe it was the 1970s, during when he was younger, it wasn't really, it was frowned upon. And not only that, we hear the story of the rolling calf. The rolling calf is this butcher guy that was butchering the meat, or the cows, and something happens, and Nigel and his brother actually witnessed the rolling calf transforming himself. It was a normal, regular person, and he transforms himself into this butcher rolling calf. And the story goes that if he finds kids or anyone, and he'll just butcher you and make a meat out of you. Okay, so it's a bit confusing in the sense that Nigel, Sasha, Zora, and Beatrice Porter, all of them have had experience with the supernatural through these stories that they tell. And I realized that the stories that they tell, whether it's the rolling calf story, is always alternated, by each of the members. For example, the Anansi story as well. The Anansi story, as told by Nigel, will differ as told by Beatrice or by Zora or by Sasha. And sometimes when they're together, the dad will be like, let me tell you a story. And he will start with the Nancy story, and then the girls will finish the story. But somehow it's always changing, So that was one aspect of what we learned about Nigel. So he also was a writer. He loved to write, but his dad didn't think that him writing would basically bring food to the table, so he didn't like the fact that his son was writing. He did say to Nigel that he was a good writer, but that it would not bring him further than that. And obviously Nigel always felt some kind of way because he didn't have the appreciation of his dad. And we also learned that his dad did kill himself. That's really terrible. And what happened to Harold, his brother, is that the rolling calf comes and finds Harold with his lover boy, and something happens. But the story goes, as told by Nigel, the brother, is that there was a hurricane, and the hurricane took Harold and the lover boy, although they were found in an embrace. Like, once the hurricane had passed, that's how they were found together, embracing each other. Go figure. So that's one side of the story. The other story, we learn about Bertram Small, which I love. The story of Bertram Small. Bertram Small, we found out about her childhood as well, and she used to see ghosts. Oh, you guys, I was reading this at night and I was like, oh my god, oh my god. Do not look behind, do not look in any corner, just read the story and finish up. But yeah, so we meet Beatrice, and Beatrice is, she's seeing ghosts, and she wasn't too popular at school either because she was a loner. That's not good, being a loner. But we discovered that the ghost that she was seeing, it's Ananakoa. I think I got that right. Ananakoa. And Ananakoa is very important in the story because she is mentioned through a big part of the book. She is this woman ghost that perished among her village. She was burned, her village people were also burned by these white people. When they came, she was tricked, basically. So that's the story of Ananakoa. And now she comes to the help of girls mostly whenever they're in dire situations or they call upon her help. She comes and helps them. So she appears to Beatrice for a long time. And one aspect I want to tell you about Beatrice's childhood is that at some point she does start a relationship with another girl. But that girl is like, the way she's described in the book is like a he-she. She's trying to be a he, but she's a she. Okay. So anyways, something starts between them two, and the village, the people of the village finds out. And remember when I said I wasn't sure if she was from Trinidad or Jamaica? She's actually from Trinidad, okay? She's from Trinidad. So the villagers finds out, and her mom, who had traveled in London because, okay guys, I don't want to give you too much details because we're never gonna finish the story, but her mom had traveled to London to go and work for a white family back in London. And she comes back to Trinidad and discovers that there's all these talks, all this gossip about her daughter. And her mom is a prayerful woman. They grew up in church. So when she hears that she's going out with, how do you call it, a batiman, or like they had all these derogatory terms that they would use, her mom is besides herself. So what happens one day, Beatrice goes back home. I think she's about 15 years old, She's 15 at that time. She goes back home. She discovers her mom, who just came back from London. She's happy to see her, but she senses that something is wrong. So her mom is like, she gives her food and then tells her to go get the switch from the tree. Switch? A tree, not a tree bark, but like a tree thing. Ensuite, elle lui dit qu'elle va lui frapper pour tous les jours that she's been like, having that relationship and some. So the way her mother beat Beatrice, guys, I was like, and I've thought about that, sometimes I've thought about how black families tend to discipline their kids, especially with the whipping. Remember how slave masters used to whip black people? So you know how they say monkey do, monkey see. I'm not saying black people are like that, but it's like, that's what they were back in the days. That's what they saw, like a way of disciplining kids or people, or even the black slaves themselves. So maybe it was just ingrained in them, and that's what you see in Bertra's mother. She unleashes all that whipping on her back, like to the point where she leaves scars, and something happens because they believe in like the supernatural and stuff like that. Like there's a fire that happens and almost burns Beatrice, guys. Like, whew, oh my gosh, that part I was just like, oh my lord. And long story short, that's a little bit of Beatrice's childhood. And as she grows up, we discover how she met Nigel, and they go to America. She was shipped to America because her mom was like, you know what? Yeah, no. So she was shipped to America. She meets Nigel. They have Sasha and Zora. And what we learn about Sasha, because I remember I told you she's the oldest child, she also is into girls. She has an affinity. She has a thing for girls. And her mother, at one point, discovers that. And obviously she is reminded of what happened to her. So she doesn't really fully beat Sasha, but she does kind of beat her up. And as the story evolves, we also meet again all these spider, like Anansi. Like Anansi's story is very diversified throughout the book. And we meet how Anansi is a woman, as told by Beatrice, as told by Sasha, as told by Zora. As I said, you guys, it's not that the book is confusing, it's just that from the beginning till the end, all these characters, whatever events happens in their life, they have a story to say. Like they have a story to relate to that event that's happening in their lives. And close to the end, but not the end, Zora is the youngest. She is the writer of the family. She's the one who basically keeps those stories alive. And as told even in the blurb here, they said even if a mother dies, the children keeps those stories alive, right? So I just want to read you a little bit of some of the quotes that I liked. They're not spectacular, but they were cute quotes. What I also realized about this book is that she also touched about on the maroon in Trinidad, because we always know about maroons in like maybe around Haiti, around Jamaica, around those parts, but not Trinidad. Some part in the book here, she talks about Beatrice, because remember when Beatrice was burned, she was brought to the hospital, and something does happen at the hospital where someone comes to visit her and rapes her in the hospital, you guys, in the hospital. Like, how insane is that? So I like this part because here in the book, there's a part here where the author tells us to write our impure thoughts. You know, she says, insert impure thoughts here. Well, a quote that I like from the book, she says here, I want to explain that being half of every culture, even the one you grew up with, can do wonders to your self-esteem, make you feel like you don't exist, that not knowing your history eats away at something inside you like a parasite. I like that quote just because I relate to it. You know, being born in Congo and then growing up in Canada, I can relate to this. One last quote that I want to read you from this book is, after we die, we want to live forever in the moment we love the most. We want the moment to be replayed over and over again until a record player breaks. But it can't break because this is forever. And we don't want to be aware that we are living in forever, because it's the thinking about forever that makes us all want to die in the first place. Those are some of my favorite quotes from this book. Before I conclude this story, you guys, I want to just mention a little bit of Nigel's life. You know, Beatrice does fall sick. She's found out that she has cancer, and everybody's trying to grapple with that idea. And boy, oh boy, as soon as that is discovered, you can just feel the supernatural, the ghostly effect of this book, the hunting, the seeing eyes and things like that, just being enhanced from the moment you discover that the mother is sick with cancer. But also Nigel. By the way, you guys, Nigel cheats on Beatrice with a white woman, and she's from Germany, and they have a kid. Yeah, go figure. It was a good book. Like, it was a good book. As I said, it had everything: ghosts, hunting, all of that stuff, all of that crap that I was definitely out of my element, but I'm happy I got through it. So I'll give you a rating after I talk to you about Lone Woman. All right, so Lone Woman, if I remember where I updated you last, I was at the part where she is visited by those four boys who pretend to be blind. A lot happened afterwards, okay? So two of those four boys do die because the creature was unleashed. It attacked the mother, and it attacked the two boys. Okay? Simple. But what I discovered, you guys, is that this creature is described as having scales. So you can say it has the dragon type of look, okay? And it's huge, it's big. And at some point, Adelaide, she decides that she's gonna come clean to the townspeople and tell them the story about the monster. And she tells that to her neighbor, Grace. I was looking for her name at some point at the beginning, but it's Grace. Grace has a son, Sam, right? I think I mentioned that at the beginning. The reason why I mentioned is because they're very important in the story. So she comes clean and tells him that, yeah, this monster, I've been living with a monster my whole life, my parents and all of that stuff. It attacked my parents, and long story short, there are these people now who are hunting the monster. But what you discover at some point in the book is that these town people were not so unaware of maybe most of the townspeople, but the most important people, like the wealthy people, the vigilante of the little Sandy Hill that they call Sandy Hill within Montana, had an experience with such monster. In fact, one of the vigilante guys had given birth to a scaly creature which they killed. He is aware of the monster and of the fact that there are other people there who may have given birth to such creatures. I believe 3 around the world that there might be aware of, including Adelaide, Adelaide's family. They call it the Negro. The Negro. But anyways, so what happens is that at some point she knows that she has to go and get the monster. And as the story progresses, you start to discover that this monster is actually a she. And she is the sister of Adelaide. Because remember, I told you she was at the doorstep when Adelaide was born. So they can be twins, and a non-identical twin. Call them, yes, non-identical twin. You have a dragon lookalike and a human lookalike. So there you have it. And she does go hunt that dragon lookalike monster that she calls Elizabeth. Elizabeth, the monster, the creature, discovers Adelaide while she's traveling to go find it. So she actually carries Adelaide all the way to the mountain, and there they have a sister to sister talk. And they make peace. And I'm gonna spare you the end, but I want to mention one thing about Sam, who's Grace's son, who's Adelaide's good friend and neighbor. Sam is now who you think he is. Or she is? Anyways, there were some twists and turns in that story. I can admire what the author did there. So I really had a good time in terms of meeting all the people in Montana, the story. Last thing I want to mention is that before the epic end in this book, there is this lady called Mrs. Reed. Now, Mrs. Reed is the wife of the vigilante guy that is in pursuit of Adelaide's twin sister, okay? And she is part of the so-called busy bees of the town. She's also very wealthy. She's the one, like in small towns, those ladies that are in charge, right? So she discovers that the Negro woman, who's Adelaide, is harboring a creature, a monster. So she talks to the busy bee ladies and the town folks and tell them that, you know what, there's right and there's wrong and there's right and wrong, and when you choose to be on the wrong side, you have to be taken care of. So there were these friends that Adelaide created a friendship with, right? And they were there to help her find her twin sister at the beginning, at some point when they were trying to find the creature before the creature found Adelaide and took her to the mountain. It was a group of ladies that were with Adelaide. What happens is that those ladies are found by the busy bee lady, but Mrs. Reed was the leader of the pack. And she says that they're gonna hang these ladies because obviously they were accomplice to Adelaide and the creature and all of that. So she decides that she's gonna hang these ladies, but including Sam's mother. Sam's mother, Adelaide's neighbor, Adelaide's friend. She's part of the pack of the ladies who were being hung. The end is quite just imagine the creature showing up. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So that's it. That is it. I already said what I had to say about the selfless act of breathing by J.J. Bola. Some of the quotes from this book, because remember I told you I had lended the book to my husband that time, so I couldn't really read the quotes. So I just want to read a few quotes from this book, and then I'll end up. The first quote I want to share with you guys is, "The ways we are seen and not seen, the ways we are invisible in this world, and the ways we long to be seen and then eventually not. We fight to be seen, for the world to know that we are here, only for us to be forgotten, to be invisible once again. The difference is our choosing, whether we are seen or not seen. We give that power back to us. But in our absence, the world goes on." That's so sad, and I've thought about that this whole month of October, how when we when we're going through the death of my nephew, and I just thought of how everybody was just moving on and their world had not stopped, whereas ours stopped. But it was really a lot to read this book. And then the other quote, "Is there no way out, no way out of the mind, out of this prison, this hell, less this purgatory, this wasteland of nothingness, where nothing lives, where nothing breathes? And to think the only way to escape the mind is to escape the body, and I, of both body and mind, am no longer shrinking from annihilation, no longer shrinking from death. I am walking to it, running even. I want to walk into the oblivion of my being, the disintegration of my existence from this world. Like dust swept by the wind into the air, into a tornado, hurricane, storm. Listen to my words. I want to die. Yes, I speak not as a man who wants to die, but as a man who wants to live, and dying is the only way I know how." If that's not just, like, you can just imagine the darkness, the depth of this this man's pain. Like, there's no way out. I like this one here. "Like homes, we also need to be taken care of as much as we can, and to have something live inside us in order for us to live. But regardless, in the end, we eventually go back to nature, back to death, submerged by the will of the earth. And in our most earnest moments, maybe we are all just homes, burning, and love is the water that saves us. And maybe love is that someone who still sees in all the burned down brokenness of our house, the beauty in us, the stories and memories that we hold inside, and restores us and make us home." I could just go on this book. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to be in the right state, but you have to read this book. Like, there was just so many beautiful things he said. Like, I don't understand, like, how this is dark, this book, but it had beautiful things at some point. Like, love this one. "With no legs, to you I would run. With no eyes, your face I would see. With no ears, your voice I would hear. With no hands, your skin I would touch. With no mouth, your jewel I would taste. With no nose, your scent I would smell. With no heart, it is you I would love. You are my person." What else can I say? I'm almost done, guys. "Suffering is our shared language, our common bond. One of the two things that remind us, all of us, that we are acutely and intensely alive, that we are all the same. The other is love." The man laughs hysterically and continues, "But suffering is also the thing we all deny and act like we're not going through it. We are beings toward death, driving full speed to our demise." So morbid, but so beautiful. I'm gonna end this vlog on this note. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves, that you are living your lives as fully as you possibly can, that you are hugging each other, that you are hugging your kids, you're telling them that they are enough, you love them, and that you are their world, not the outside, that we should be their safe place. I'm gonna end there, you guys. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Thank you for watching, for encouraging me to do this, for always showing up, for always liking my my videos, that you will pick up these books. I need to read these books. So this one, I have to say 4.5 out of 5. And this book, it's because it's not my cup of tea, I'm gonna put it into 3.5 out of 5. And lastly, Lone Woman, I am gonna rate this 3 out of 5.
And that is my verdict. All right, guys, I will see you next in my next video. Ciao.